everybody, it's Chris Eads, Wootini over at gaygamer.net, here with another weekly video podcast. This week I'm again going to start off with something just geeky, not gay necessarily, although David Tennant is very attractive. But Doctor Who had its 50th anniversary, and there was so much hype over it, and everybody was all, "Ooh, Doctor Who, Day of the Doctor Who!" And what's funny to me is that I was actually more looking forward to An Adventure in Space and Time, which was a documentary, well, not a docudrama. It was a TV movie about the creation of Doctor Who, which I found quite fascinating. I do sort of wish that it had been longer, or maybe like a two-part miniseries, because I feel like it kind of rushed through it, and there was, I wanted like some more details and stuff. It also sort of had a little problem with focus, because you start off by following one character, Verity, the first female television producer in the BBC, and then like halfway through the movie, like she moves on, and it becomes more about William Hartnell playing the first Doctor and his struggles and everything. So it was a little bit, disjointed. But as a movie, I thought it was great. I loved watching the creation of Doctor Who and how crazy they were making television back then, and all the papier-mâché sets and everything. And I did get a little emotional at the end. There's an unusual cameo that got to me. But then came Day of the Doctor, which is the 50th anniversary episode, which paired Matt Smith and David Tennant's Doctors with John Hurt's Doctor. And while it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, it was actually quite a solid episode. Everyone on social media was all acting like it was the best thing since sliced bread. Which, by the way, sliced bread is... I don't understand that, because, was it really that hard to slice your own bread that you were so amazed to have pre-sliced bread? Anyway, Day of the Doctor was a good episode. I just didn't think it was like the second coming, I was pleased that it wasn't as much of Stephen Moffat, making up shit as he goes along, as it usually feels like it is with him. But I'm kind of getting a little tired of, everyone talking in riddles and acting like mysterious and like really self-important, and that's what ruined the character of River Song for me, is that she just kept coming back, and every time she came back she was more annoying, because all she would do is talk in riddles and say "spoilers, sweetie," and walk around like she's, better than everybody else, and I'm just like, no, you're kind of annoying now. I just can't wait to get rid of Matt Smith, because I've never taken to his Doctor. I thought that it was Amy Pond who was ruining it, but it turns out I think it was Matt Smith, because I haven't taken to Clara either. And again, with Clara, the same problem, where it becomes about the companion, and I'm just like, no, the companion just sort of helps the Doctor. But I've noticed in this modern, the newer series, that it tends to end up being about the companion at some point. With Clara, right from the start, it was about Clara. But I'm looking forward to getting rid of him. I'm looking forward to Peter Capaldi, because I am kind of getting tired of the young, pretty, goofy Doctors, and I would like someone to bring a different energy to it. Maybe a cranky old man, again, would be a nice change of pace. But that's just me. I know a lot of people love Matt Smith, and they, of course, love David Tennant, who I did enjoy. I just didn't think Matt Smith was different enough. Although seeing them on screen together, they are different. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like it was much of a change, but when you see them interacting with each other, you're like, oh no, they are very different people. But I also kind of agree with a friend of mine who thinks that maybe it's not just Matt Smith we need to get rid of, but Stephen Moffat, and maybe we need a fresh hand guiding this particular TARDIS. To each his own. I'm just glad it's still on the air, because it's great. I just wish that it had a little bit more nod towards the 50 years of history. There were some nods, but I would have liked a little bit more. Just because it irks me sometimes when the modern Who tends to ignore the previous incarnations sometimes. Because I rather enjoyed those shows and those doctors, and you know, everyone nowadays acts like this is Doctor Who, and I'm like, no, this is also Doctor Who. The whole thing is Doctor Who. Don't forget that. I think that's probably why I liked An Adventure in Space and Time, because it reminded everybody that this is where it started. Also, to bring it into video games a little bit, there was a wonderful Google Doodle where you selected a little pixel doctor and you walked around little pixel environments avoiding the enemies like Daleks and Cybermen and such. I tried it. I only made it through a few levels because it's isometric, and pressing up, down, left, right, I kept forgetting which button I should be pushing because it was at an angle, and I kept getting confused, and I would get killed, and I was just like, okay, this is... Although it was fun when you get killed, you turn into the next doctor, which was funny. Moving on to segueing into video games, I'm still playing the same games. Haven't picked up anything new. Don't worry about that. No, so nothing new to talk on that front. However, apparently there's been some new consoles released. There's a new PlayStation, and then this past weekend they released the Xbox One, neither of which I have, and neither of which I have plans to buy yet. I will get them eventually, because I always buy every console, but not yet. Since Nintendo doesn't have any new systems to release, they released some games. Friday, the 22nd, was a big day. They released Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U, as well as The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, and Mario Party Island Tour for the 3DS. And they had a big launch event Thursday night. The games went on sale on the eShop at midnight, and you could buy them in stores Friday morning. But Nintendo World in New York City had a little launch event on Thursday night, starting at 8 o'clock. You could buy the games, and it's in my neighborhood, so I swung by. I got there around 9, so the games had already been on sale for an hour. It was like 8:45, almost 9 o'clock, and so they'd been on sale for almost an hour. So the line actually didn't even, it reached maybe halfway down the block. It wasn't even that long. And it was a rather low-key event. I mean, they had this really amazing chalk painting by an artist named Chris Carlson, which was quite lovely. And they also had some, and so was Chris Carlson, he was a bit lovely too, just saying. Then there was there were some smaller framed Zelda artwork, which I think might be from the game, actually, placed around the store. And those were actually really beautiful, I thought. And they had a cosplayer. They had her dress up as Link, and it was great because it was the actual, like, the correct costume of that particular Link from that particular, you know, timeline, which was fun. But I was surprised. They were handing out some swag. The line moved at a nice pace, so it wasn't that long. It was kind of a low-key event, and I'm not sure why, because, you know, these are big games. Like, I've seen humongous Mario launches, and I've seen humongous Zelda launches. This one was a little bit low-key on Nintendo's side, and from the fans. Like, the line didn't stretch around the block or anything. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because a lot of people don't have Wii U's, so they're not going to buy Super Mario 3D World yet. Or maybe, you know, because everybody's got 3DS's, so those would sell. Like, they're all there for the new Zelda game, probably. But I also think maybe because it was a Thursday night, and people were like, I'm not going to go and stand in line on a Thursday, that's ridiculous. You know, I mean, it was still well attended, and there were still those fans, and I heard that some fans were in line, like, all day, which to me is just crazy. But I guess, you know, they do run out of certain pieces of swag, so if you want to make sure that you get the good swag, you've got to be in line early, I guess. You know, I know that same night, on Thursday night, at midnight, they started selling the Xbox One, and there was a big launch event over in Times Square, But I did not go to that because, sorry folks, I have no footage of that. I didn't go there because I do not have a Microsoft press contact, so I would not have been able to get into a press area, probably not. And also, it's a school night, and I have a day job, so I was going to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so it was fine to go to Rockefeller Center for like 10 or 15 minutes around 9 o'clock and then come home. But to go and hang out in Times Square, thank God it wasn't that cold, but to go hang out in Times Square until after midnight and then have to schlep home and then go to work the next morning was like, so, also I wasn't buying an Xbox One, so I wasn't interested in that, at least not yet. I wasn't interested in being there to buy one either. But I've talked long enough now today, so come back next week and I'm going to process all my thoughts about the new consoles and pros and cons and such. Alright? So I'll see you then. Bye.